And now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal, the full story, real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show, presented by RIA Advisors.
And good morning. Welcome to Financial Fitness Friday of the Lance Roberts Show. I'm Rich Rosso, CFP, here with Danny Ratliff, CFP, CFP squared. So happy to see you. We were not here last week, but we are today live.
Was that just last week? Feels like they're all blending together.
They are all the same. They are all the same. Listen, so couple of things. Obviously, we've been waiting for the oversold bounce. But you know, people on the YouTube channel, people who listen to the show, you're all pretty seasoned investors, so I'm not doing this for your benefit. But I would hope that you can share this with people who are nervous about the market. Because what we do in portfolios is we benchmark to a high point. Right, Danny? Don't we always benchmark to the high point?
I'd like to anchor.
Right. Your portfolio is a boat on the water. It's not the foundation of where a house sits. If you want that kind of a benchmarking, again, what should you be in, Danny? You should be in what? Fixed indexed annuities, right? They'll hit the high point. You won't lose any money, right? Zero floor, which means that if, say, the S&P is negative this year, you won't be. You'll get a portion of the market returns, and you'll sleep better at night. But let's do it in a song. Last year, as Danny and I talked about, the market was smooth sailing. Picture yourself in a boat on a river with tangerine dreams and marmalade skies. That was last year. This year, the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. You are the captain of the boat. You cannot look at the portfolio from the high point. Smooth sailing, rough waters. You navigate those waters. If you can't do those things, you don't invest in stocks. Right, Governor? Are you going to see Downton Abbey this weekend, Brent? I'm full of voices today, and they're all the same. Brent's not going to go see Downton Abbey this weekend. Neither am I. But
Sybil Rosso.
Well, but I do think it's.
But to think about it, I mean, you have to look at your portfolio as navigating through a waterway or through rough waters, clear waters, and when it's clear and the sun's out and all that, that's the time you sit back and look at your emergency plan, right? You enjoy what's going on, but say, hey, what if I run into a patch of rough water? Well, how do I prepare now overall? And once I'm in the storm, I really don't know what kind of storm I'm in, right, Danny? I don't really know. Maybe I have to do a little bit more than I thought to get through it. But I don't exit the water. It's like, I'm not looking for a helicopter to come and grab me because I am the captain of the ship. So if you don't want to be a captain of the stock market ship, then you don't own stocks. You don't own variable assets. There's nothing wrong with that. There are some people that I talk to that they're not equipped to own stocks, and they're very happy not to. But they will try to get a taste of stocks through fixed index annuities or permanent life insurance or other things. There's nothing wrong with thinking that maybe I shouldn't own variable assets if it doesn't fit into your mode of how you invest. Stocks markets don't always go up. And this period that we're going to go through here feels like a bear market to me, even though I can't officially say it.
Yeah, we're pretty close. But I think that, everybody has to understand exactly, where they are. What are you benchmarking towards? Are you looking at your plan? Do you have a hurdle rate? Have you accounted for these different types of environments? And that's the bigger part, I think, of this conversation, Rich.
Yeah.
And look, I get it. It is nerve-wracking. It's your life
savings. Are you going to sing it, Danny? What song are you singing?
No, I'm not singing. I can assure you that. shoot, my voice is gone. I barely talk. So
I lost my voice yesterday.
Yeah, it's been anyways.
But I can still do my accent if you'd like, Governor.
It's so unfortunate, isn't it, Brent?
I only had 4 hours sleep, everybody. Be prepared. We might be off the air after this.
Oh, man.
Go ahead.
But I think that it's important to remember. And look, we understand, too, that this is your life savings. It's your security. It's, what you should be planning and should have planned for, hopefully.
Yes.
And understand exactly what these different market environments can do to your overall financial plan and how that works. Drawdowns are part of the market. And, we always talk about what is the price of entry, Rich? If we're going to invest in the market, it's a 10%. You need to be prepared for that at any given time, a 10% drawdown.
And especially now with the Fed no longer on your side to come and bail you out, right? It's almost like the Fed was there in that helicopter when you had a rough sea and would take you off the boat. Well, no, not anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I do have a song for Powell, but I really can't sing it on the air. There are a lot of four-letter words in it. But I'm going to say that to your point, right, exactly. Yesterday, and sometimes you have to think about some of the good things you've done when the seas were calm. Like I spoke to someone yesterday and I said, remember last year you were hesitant to take profits. You didn't want to do that. You didn't want to rebalance. You were regretting the taxes. And he goes, we should have done more. Well, I'm like, well, that's the point I'm trying to make is you did what you were supposed to do. It's a win-win. Now you're falling into something called hindsight bias where you thought you knew what was going to happen, and you don't. You had no idea what was going to happen. Neither do we. This is why people now also are extrapolating. They're going into the future and they're saying, well, this bear cycle, it's going to last forever. It's not. And bear markets don't last as long as bull markets. And frankly, when we talk on our investment meetings, we're not only talking about how to manage the losses, because if you're in the market, you're going to bleed. You don't want to hemorrhage to death. And to Danny's point, very important, what are you benchmarking to? Some nebulous green and red on your screen? What are you actually benchmarking how you think you're doing to? And most people are doing it based on the high watermark of their portfolio before, and that's the wrong way to look at it. It's on an ocean. It's going to move up and down. And how it moves in May or June may not be at all how it moves in November and December. So you can't extrapolate out what's going to happen. People have been asking, Danny, well, you all have been expecting this oversold bounce and we haven't gotten it. And that's true, or at least if we have, they haven't lasted. But every bear market we've ever seen in history, unless it's different this time, and frankly, I talked to someone yesterday, I said, they go, isn't this really different with the inflation and all? I'm like, no, I don't see anything different in this cycle that I saw. Every cycle's got a nuance, but a bear's a bear, man. Bear doesn't look any different. Or any bear songs? What's the Yogi Bear song? Hey, boo-boo, how about a picnic basket full of stocks? I don't want it anymore. I'll take an annuity. All right, that was terrible. 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 I won't do that to you again in the next segment. Hey, we get back. We got to talk to you about some healthcare costs and retirement. IRS destroying data, all kinds of cool stuff when we get back here on Financial Fitness Friday. We will be right back.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Some people don't know about bonds.
I am told this is a bond. I've never seen a bond before. I never owned a bond in my portfolio. It is terrifying.
Get to know bonds in our next free Lunch and Learn, Thursday, June 2nd with Richard Rosso, Danny Ratliff, and special guest Lance Roberts. Register now at realinvestmentadvice.com. The Thing About Bonds with Ratliff, Rosso, and Roberts. realinvestmentadvice.com.
Do you know what you don't know when hiring and retaining quality employees? Compensation is more than just wages. It's personal time off, the vacation days, healthcare benefits, a 401k. Do you know what's important to them? Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Let us show you how to make the most of an affordable, effective package that will deliver true value for your business and your employees. Call me toll-free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Anyone can sell you insurance, and they'll gladly take your premium dollars. The RIA Insurance Agency can provide you with insurance solutions tailor-made for your needs and lifestyle. Because everyone's assets are different, let RIA Insurance review what you need to protect and how. We won't sell you insurance, but what you need will be a matter of policy. RIA Insurance Agency. 888-915-0780. 888-915-0780. RealInvestmentAdvice.com. Click on the insurance tab.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Bulls win in bull markets. Bears win in bear markets. Eagles soar above and take advantage of opportunity. Let us help you soar as you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
Welcome back. Now, what I was thinking about yesterday is why in heck does Elon Musk want Twitter? It's a smelly dead fish. What? I mean, what's the point of owning it? I think in 5 years, that thing is gone. That's how I think about it. And then when you see all the whistleblowers and everything that's going on there, listen, let that ship sink. I mean, it is a turd. Flush it. What do you think, Danny? I mean, you think it's just like him making trying to make an example of like free speech is dying and I'm going to do this. But, from a business perspective, with all the other stuff he's got going on, and I know he'll find people to run Twitter and then maybe bring it public again if he gets it. But, I just was thinking about it. It's probably mostly bots. Who wants that thing? Why would I buy it?
You think he's bored? I mean,
yeah. Is it that? Like, I'm a billionaire and I need something to do? I mean, I love his tweets, don't get me wrong, but I just, from a business perspective, like, why bother? Let that sip. That's the ship that's... I almost said the other S word because that's what it is.
But is he exposing, what they really are with all the bots and
all those I think on that, yeah, to your point, that's positive, but why would I commit capital?
Yeah.
I can't wait for them to come out to see how many bots. Like the president, Biden has half of his followers a bot, right?
50%.
And those bots have more brains than he does. So, I mean, how many bots do we got? But, so here's a fun thing. Musk comes out and goes, ESG is a scam. Who said it first? Lance Roberts. Lance Roberts, before the billionaire Elon Musk. Elon's got just a few zeros on Lance, not many. Lance said it first. So guess what's come out, Danny?
All these ESG investors.
Yeah, but guess what else has come out?
What's that?
In this free market. The Constrained Capital ESG Orphans ETF. It's a new anti-ESG fund.
It's the anti-woke fund.
Yeah, ORFN.
Yeah.
Access to equities that fall outside of the traditional ESG standards. The fund is built out of names that are considered to be more controversial in nature: oil and gas, tobacco, gambling, alcohol, firearms, and more.
All those things Lance was talking about yesterday that, back in the 2000s, nobody wanted.
Yeah.
And then they did really, really well. And people are like, well, maybe it's not so bad. I don't know. I can live with it. And
I sort of like this anti-ESG kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's making me feel better.
Well, you know what? I mean, look, there's going to be a side to every coin. And so just like the ESG strategy, you're going to have somebody's going to say, you know what? Let's go the opposite way. And that's the neat thing about free markets. People can choose where they want to invest, what they want to do, and what matters to them. But
it's the misleading part I don't like.
Well, it is.
In other words, if it was really ESG, and some of the best asset allocators, William Bernstein has talked out against this. It's impossible to find the proper ESG. And I understand you want to feel good, but you really need to do your homework and realize you're paying more money for something that Wall Street created and is making bukus of money as a marketing scheme. And you're the idiot. So you're trying to do the right thing as an investor, but you're not digging into it. And neither are your custodians or your brokers, because ESG is so popular with brokers and advisors, and I'm sure they're not looking at what's in it. They just say it just says ESG. So it's nice to see some of this farce exposed, and maybe someday, Danny, we get real ESG funds that do what people want them to do at a reasonable price. So maybe that's how it comes to be. And like you said, the free market will look at it. I just don't like people being duped, and Wall Street always does it. Listen, it's the same thing with Bitcoin, right? Anti-Wall Street. It's going to be this hedge. It's going to be this. And then Wall Street picks it up, and it's just another risk asset. And that sort of bothers me, that smaller investors, novices, get preyed upon. We try to dig into the data, look at it for what it is, and expose it. And it's nice to see that Elon Musk is doing the same. But it's going to be interesting, this Twitter saga, and see where it finally goes and see how many bots are really out there. There are a lot of trolls, but I don't know how many bots.
It is. But, you bring up a good point. I think right now is an environment where we've seen, and really Wall Street is always looking for other ways to package products and say, hey, look at this. It's shiny. It's new. It's great. This is the best research. And, sometimes we get so far, ahead of ourselves that we begin to believe it. And, right now I am hearing from people. We obviously we're talking to a lot of different people right now, but I'm finding that some people are interested in finding other ways to make money. And sometimes it sounds too good to be true in many instances.
Yes.
Which is beginning to scare me a little bit, Rich, in the sense that people are saying, hey, you know what? Traditional stocks I'm not as comfortable with. I'm not as comfortable with the traditional bonds as I was. But, some of these things I'm hearing about, I'm not comfortable even hearing about them. I'm like, hey, man, I don't think that's, sounds too good to be true. Probably is. Yeah, but my cousin's doing it and they're doing well. I'm like, well, maybe right now, but that's not always going to be the case.
But isn't that funny how you go out of this frying pan into this fire, back into this frying pan, into this fire, and then you're a crisp. It's crazy to see how people do that. I don't know. Here's one of the positives of bear markets and the liquidity draining out of the system. You really get to see who the fakes are.
Yeah.
You really get to see what's going on. I think that cleansing process is so important. And as Lance has talked about for years with business cycles, we do not allow a cleansing of the system at all. And we try to prevent it. And now the Fed can't. I don't even think they could do it on the fiscal side, but the Fed absolutely cannot do it. So we're really going to see a cleansing that in the long term, if you navigate it correctly, will be one, it'll make the systems more transparent, right? It's like a detox. Doesn't feel good when you're going through it, right? It will open up new opportunities or opportunities and things you've wanted to own for a long time. How much we always say we're going through the rubble right now of investments, Danny, to find, hey, there could be opportunities in some of the retailers, consumer discretionary, technology. Technology's not going away, anybody. It's not.
Oh, I'm extremely optimistic right now. I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunities out there. It's just waiting for the right time to buy them.
It's a little early, but I think it's early. But to your point, this is the kind of thing that you got to look at as an investor, especially if you built up cash. And what is our cash now, like 30%?
Yeah, we're give or take.
We've got gold, and bonds are finally doing what they're supposed to do, right? Because the bond market finally is getting the gist of, wait a minute, things are really slowing down. Lance and Mike are a little early on this, but I believe them. Yields will go down. Money will come to the United States. Even though we look like a train wreck to each other, to the world, we are still the cleanest dirty shirt. I had a couple of clients really laughing yesterday. I said, listen, I hate to be crass with this, but that's me. right? If this is a toilet bowl, everybody's in the water, we're on the rim, right? We're still the best of the best. Look at the dollar, right? Money will come into treasuries. Yields will fall if indeed we're going into contraction. And it does look like we are. And I had to explain to yesterday a client, Danny, who really didn't get it. By the time you're actually where you are losing jobs and you're actually stated that it's a recession, the market will be going up and you'll be shaking your head like, I don't understand.
And you'll think it makes no sense whatsoever. But think about this. I mean, even before rates were rising, that the Fed actually, pulled a lever here, we already saw rates increasing. And we historically see that. And then once they've actually hiked the rates, they bounce around for a bit, they drop. And so that's the interesting thing. A lot of times, we want to look at all these, we think that, finding out we're in a recession is a leading indicator. Well, that's way behind because we're finding out about something that was already there. It already occurred. And that's the one thing that we have to keep in context when we're thinking about all the information that comes out. It's easy to act emotional and say, oh my goodness, this is terrible. But that information is what's already been done. And I think that's one important thing to remember.
Right. And you don't want to see people lose their jobs.
No, heck
no. But you are going to see companies lay people off. We already know that margins are being pressed in retailers. They're going to keep the people they have, but maybe they're not going to hire, right? Why are we going to hire any more people? We'll put more money into tech. This is what's going to happen. And now the Fed is away from the cycle, and frankly, a lot of investors have never seen a cycle or a recessionary cycle. They think markets only go up and the Fed's there to bail them out of the ship. It's not that way anymore. Gene Hackman is now coming to guide you out of the top of the Poseidon. God, that's a great movie. Poseidon Adventure. It's not going to happen. So the thing is, if you're in your portfolio or you're in the markets right now, one rule, the first rule, Danny brought it up. What do you benchmark to? It's not your high point. It's a goal, the goal you have for that money. We have our benchmark rates, or people like yesterday I talked to someone, I said, Rich, we're coming in at averaging around 4.5%, 5%. And the plan rate that we need to get is 2.5 to 2.8. I'm like, yeah, you're above the hurdle rate and you're not taking the same risk as the market. So for some people that are focusing on, I can still hit my goals even through this storm. Like I am going to make it through this water to the other side. I'm going to get there. That's what a good plan or a navigation tool does. It helps you focus on what you should be to get through it, as opposed to getting all emotional on the ship, and you look like the crazy captain, like sometimes when Kirk loses it, when he licks a tribble or something, or dates some green chick, right? He's losing his mind. I don't even know how he's considered a good captain. The guy's all over the place. He's crazy, Kirk. Spoken! It's like you're the genius of the starship. You're a mess. Spock should be the captain, not you. Crazy man. All right, we get back. Oh, we still got a lot of stuff to talk about here. Financial Fitness Friday. We're so glad you're with us. Be right back.
The Real Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Some people don't know about bonds.
I am told this is a bond. I've never seen a bond before. I never owned a bond in my portfolio. It is terrifying.
Get to know bonds in our next free Lunch and Learn, Thursday, June 2nd, with Richard Rosso, Danny Ratliff, and special guest Lance Roberts. Register now at realinvestmentadvice.com. The Thing About Bonds with Ratliff, Rosso, and Roberts. realinvestmentadvice.com.
Small businesses are discovering that attracting and retaining top talent come down to more than just salary. In today's highly competitive job market, compensation is more than just wages. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Healthcare and retirement plans can make the difference in hiring and retaining the best employees. We can show you how to build an affordable, effective employment package that delivers true value for your workers and your business. Call me toll free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. A passive investment portfolio requires active risk management. It's not a choice, it's necessity. Diversification doesn't protect against risk of loss. Let us actively help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
If you take all of the marshmallows out of a box of Lucky Charms, are you left with a box of Purina cat shell? Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, as you get older, you move away from those. Remember, because when you were growing up, it was Captain Crunch, it was Fruit Loops, Apple Jacks,
Alphabets.
and now it's Raisin Bran, Cheerios, raw oatmeal.
The Real Investment Show podcast
Once you move out of sugary cereals, your life is pretty much over.
at realinvestmentadvice.com.
I don't really understand Lucky Charms.
Anyone can sell you insurance, and they'll gladly take your premium dollars. The RIA Insurance Agency can provide you with insurance solutions tailor-made for your needs and lifestyle. Because everyone's assets are different, let RIA Insurance review what you need to protect and how. We won't sell you insurance, but what you need will be a matter of policy. RIA Insurance Agency. 888-915-0780. 888-915-0780. RealInvestmentAdvice.com. Click on the insurance tab.
Real Investment Show podcasts are now available from Stitcher Smart Radio at Stitcher.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets. And unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA Advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. It's a quick and easy application. Just simply click Ask a Question at realinvestmentadvice.com or give us a call at 855-RIA-PLAN. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
Some people don't know about bonds. Get to know bonds in our next free Lunch and Learn, Thursday, June 2nd, with Richard Rosso, Danny Ratliff, and special guest Lance Roberts. Register now at realinvestmentadvice.com. The Thing About Bonds with Ratliff, Rosso, and Roberts. realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
We're always here to give you money tips. I have found the cheapest place to get gas.
Where
Taco
might this
Bell.
be?
Where?
Taco Bell. Dad joke alert. Does your plate? I don't even know if Brent. How much gas do you think Brent uses in his
Oh, I filled it up yesterday.
$3?
$36.
What?
Got to run high test.
Oh, you do. That's right. You do. Ooh,
Yeah.
that hurts.
And it's maybe a 10-gallon tank. It wasn't completely empty. Oof. $36 for 3/4 of a tank.
Wow, you actually did. Oh, 3/4. Okay. I was
Yeah.
going to say, you found some pretty cheap gas.
It was about 7.5 gallons.
I'm not going to tell you what I spent yesterday.
I'm still getting like 30 miles a gallon on
Come
the
on,
thing, though.
Danny, tell us.
108?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, did you see some stations are actually looking to reprogram
Yeah.
to
Add
take
a digit.
to add a digit?
Yeah. Now, this was actually like, on E. Oh, by the way, honey,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Fumes.
you're going to need to go to the gas station today.
Yeah. My wife likes to do that, too.
And then he barely made it to the gas station.
Yeah. I may have pushed a little ways.
Wasn't it Volkswagen that had the reserve tank on them back in the day?
I don't
And
know.
you could
Dude, I
flip
don't
a
even
little,
remember that.
You could flip a little lever and you had an extra gallon or something in there.
Well, because that was a lawnmower engine, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
But I can assure you that most people would that'd be common. You just flip it anyways. Oh, yeah, no worries. You get another 30 miles.
Listen, I have a solution for you guys. I'm like Pete. What's his name? Buddha Cake. I
Yeah.
got bicycles. We just take bikes everywhere we
Yeah.
go. Get on I-10 on a bike.
That'll be fun in August.
Yeah, and I'll see you tomorrow.
You won't even make it with I-10 on a bike.
Oh,
tomorrow.
no. Yeah.
You'll be so far into the asphalt I won't even find you.
You'll be marked by one of those all white bicycle statues that they put on the side of the road at fatal sites.
Is that what they're doing now?
Yeah, have you seen those
I have
things?
not.
Yeah.
They've
I don't
been
get out
doing
much.
that for a while. When someone gets hit, they have a white bicycle.
Yeah.
And they put flowers on it. And then in our neighborhood, it got stolen. Somebody stole the white bicycle.
Good grief.
Somebody got ran over in your neighborhood?
Yeah, on Luetta,
yeah.
On the
where
main
the
drag.
hood is.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
were. Somebody got. Yeah, I don't know. It's terrible. I would like to take bike everywhere, but can't do it. All right, so when we do financial plans, healthcare costs are always an important element. Not only do we look at Medicare or bridge insurance up to Medicare, we also look at out-of-pocket costs for people that 85 plus. Some additional expenses that Medicare or Medigap's not going to cover. So keep in mind, there are a lot of studies that always give you, how much you're going to pay in healthcare costs. So Fidelity does one of the more popular ones. And the average 65-year-old couple retiring in 2022 can expect to spend $315,000 in retirement in healthcare alone. Now, that's a 5% increase from 2021. So, Danny, I didn't like this report. I don't like 5%, but we use in our plans, we estimated about 5.3. So we're pretty close to this estimate. So this includes your Medicare Part A, your Part B coverage, doctor's appointments, right, that are covered, Part D, couples retiring this year anticipate spending just $41,000 on medical expenses in retirement, according to Fidelity's research.
Well, I think that's what most people have saved.
Right. So when survey participants heard Fidelity's estimate was $315,000, 70% said, "Oh, I don't think I'm ready for that." It's so important, right? Because imagine, this is if you're healthy. What if you have, if you don't get the health wealth connect and you have an unhealthy retirement? How much are you going to spend out of pocket then? So
Well, I think people hear these big numbers and they think, wow, I don't even have that much money saved. So the average, like you mentioned earlier, probably not a lot of people that are tuned in right now, but for most people, that's an enormous amount. Mm-hmm. And you do have to go back and kind of extrapolate, okay, what does my income look like? What do my overall expenses
it's not like a lump sum. They lump sum it to sort of shock you. But remember,
it
you're
is
paying
scary.
these
It's
over
a big,
time. It's a big, yeah. It just...
But that's a 65-year-old couple now. How long did they anticipate they live till?
67. I don't know. I think they look at like 90 or something like that in the plan.
Okay.
95. So now, Danny will be happy to know because he's got this weird health savings account fetish. People with HSAs felt more confident, Fidelity found. Almost half of those account holders said they felt ready, compared with 27% of the respondents who do not have an HSA, because they understand the healthcare bills that could happen in retirement and that the HSA is a great account to save for that. We can't put as much as you'd like in there. It would be nice if we would raise those limits dramatically. But, we prioritize that even for younger people to say, hey, put the money in. Your company is probably going to match your contributions in an HSA, and then don't touch the money. It's a savings account, not a spending account, right? Do not treat it like a revolving door of money with a checkbook. Try to keep it and let it grow over time. So you just have to make sure in your financial plan that you are planning accordingly. And Danny, what I don't know, and I was talking to Craig yesterday, senior planner, that next year it's going to be interesting to see the inflation trends going forward. The general rate of inflation and inflation that we look at per goal. Because there are a lot of people who postpone tests because of COVID, people who have long COVID. And again, read another great study about the mental health, physical health issues that people are going to have just from the crazy lockdowns we did that didn't do any good, right? So the repercussions of some of the things we did during the pandemic are going to bleed over for years. And my fear, Danny, is I'm going to have to look to increase the inflation rate on healthcare expenses going forward. But I just don't have enough data yet to do it.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, we're already seeing everything else bleed over. Obviously, the inflationary aspect from fiscal and monetary policy that was just way too easy. And, all the other, dynamics of shutting people in, supply chain disruptions. And, we could go on and on. But you're right. And last year, for instance, Medicare went up over 14%, your premiums.
That's right.
I mean, that was a huge jump for Part B, 148 to 170. That's pretty significant. And so we're seeing a lot of that already, within that inflation, well above what we would anticipate on a regular basis. Now, this was a little bit of a one-off scenario because there's a new Alzheimer's drug they began to cover, which was extremely expensive. So we could expect that maybe we don't see that continued inflation that
Let's
high.
hope not.
I mean,
think
it's not
they
sustainable.
did something to handle the drug where they lowered the cost. There was something so we don't see that kind of a hike again. But you got this great cost of living adjustment, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in the next segment. And you're probably going to have a good one next year if you're with Social Security. So really great cost of living adjustments. But how good is it if your Medicare premium is eating up a good percentage of it?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And that's the problem that people are beginning to see that, wow, okay, so we got over 8%. We're seeing this inflation that seems to be stickier than what was anticipated. And that's great. Social Security is fantastic in that aspect that you do get that bump. Most pensions aren't going to receive that. But when we look at, how much everything else is going up, we're still lagging behind.
We are. And it's sad to hear, especially when we talk to, because we have quite a few much older clients who are very active, but they are micro budgeting. And I'm working right now. I just finished an Inflation Nation presentation that I hope that we'll be presenting to you in a lunch and learn or a candid coffee over the summer. Some of the tips on how to battle inflation are from our very own clients who have done a really good job cutting expenses, or at least monitoring them much closer than they have in the past. Because I do believe inflation is here to stay for a bit. Now, our estimate is that CPI falls to roughly about 5.5% by the end of the year, but wages still will not keep up. And if companies are having tough times with profit margins, small businesses, they're just not going to be able to give you the raises that they have in the past. So again, the economic distress. I think consumer confidence, Danny, it came out at the lowest level in 11 years?
Yeah, I mean, confidence across the board. You look at NFIB, National Federation of Independent Businesses, small businesses are feeling it, consumers are feeling it. And it doesn't look like there's much end in sight at the moment, especially if, we're going to continue to see these rate hikes. You would think that data over the last week or so would maybe soften that a bit. But shoot, we just had something to come across the screen in front of us that Cramer's suggesting that Powell could do 100 basis point hike. He's got the freedom to do so. And I think that maybe, I don't know what that.
I think Cramer now says things just to say things. I mean, he's always done that.
Yeah, but
I think he's just
it's the bombastic.
He's gotten more of that. He used to be like 20% shock and awe, and he's gone to 90.
Well, you get more clicks, which pay more money.
Yeah, and his bots. And I'll give you another one. If you think Susie Orman's got some discount dental plan that I see advertised, I got a bridge to sell you. A dental bridge. Ba-doom-tsh. We'll be right back. Financial Fitness Friday.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Some people don't know about bonds.
I am told this is a bond. I've never seen a bond before. I never owned a bond in my portfolio? It is terrifying.
Get to know bonds in our next free Lunch and Learn, Thursday, June 2nd with Richard Rosso, Danny Ratliff, and special guest Lance Roberts. Register now at realinvestmentadvice.com. The Thing About Bonds with Ratliff, Rosso, and Roberts. realinvestmentadvice.com.
What worries you about your money? Enhance your financial success with RIA Advisors' free financial planning tool, MyBlocks. It's our online modular manager for your money and your life. Does your vision of retirement match up to reality? MyBlocks can help to determine how much you'll need and how you can achieve. Create your own personal financial vision for the next decade with MyBlocks, our free tool at RIAadvisors.com. Click on the Client Portal tab, RIAadvisors.com.
Anyone can sell you insurance, and they'll gladly take your premium dollars. The RIA Insurance Agency can provide you with insurance solutions tailor-made for your needs and lifestyle. Because everyone's assets are different, let RIA Insurance review what you need to protect and how. We won't sell you insurance, but what you need will be a matter of policy. RIA Insurance Agency. 888-915-0780. 888-915-0780. realinvestmentadvice.com. Click on the insurance tab.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Manage risk and volatility rather than trying to manage gains. You don't have to be right all the time. Long-term investing success is a 70% gain. Let us help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors. 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
And welcome back. So it's estimated that we might see a pretty decent cost of living adjustment for Social Security recipients next year. What, about 8.6%? I think the Senior Citizens League has estimated. Could change, obviously. We don't have enough data yet, but it looks like next year will be another increase.
It's a pretty healthy boost, especially, considering what's going on. But those numbers won't come out until what, October?
Yeah, October, November. So it's important when you get when you look at, and hopefully everybody does this, to go to SSA.gov and sign in and check your statements, see where you are, look what your primary insurance amount is, look at it is by age, right? If you retire before 67, 66 plus months, or 70 years old in the delayed income credit, it's really important, crucially important, to make sure if we're going into, and I read an article in the Wall Street Journal that says that this next decade for stocks could be pretty poor. Again, we adjusted these asset class returns in 2019. So I'm always a couple of years early, and I look stupid when I do this. But now what we're hearing a lot of, especially for people in distribution portfolios, is sequence of returns risk, where I get lower returns over time, and then I'm still taking a distribution, but my money is deteriorating a lot faster than I would feel comfortable with, right? And your distribution rate and the survivability of your portfolio over the first 5 to 10 years of retirement will dictate the next 10 and the next 10. This is where guaranteed income can shoulder the burden of your income need, allowing the portfolio to heal. It's almost like there are going to be times when your portfolio is sprinting and you could take money out and the sprinter still goes, and there's sometimes, well, there's a busted ankle and that portfolio is just hobbling along. And so if I make the smart decision with Social Security and possibly need a guaranteed income or create my own pension, one, I can let that portfolio sit for longer periods. I can reduce my withdrawal rate. Perhaps I could even be more aggressive when the time comes because I don't really need the money as much as I would like the money. So if I manage my budget correctly, maybe I could take my withdrawal rate down. And I read another article yesterday, Danny, about oh, the 4% withdrawal rate for portfolios, that's in jeopardy again. Who wants to live like this in retirement when I have no idea how much money I could take? And I can't go mindless into this 4% rule. Taking a fixed rate of return from a variable asset is like what Nana Rosso would say, you're mixing the oil and the water again. It doesn't work. You have to be nimble and be willing to adjust your portfolio distribution rate. So guaranteed income and taking Social Security properly, right, Danny? Very important decisions.
Well, it is, especially when you can figure out what exactly are your non-discretionary expenses, what do you need to keep that roof over your head, family fed, all the things that are really important. And that can create that base for that. And so if we can create that foundation and then let those variable assets, they're going to ebb and flow. We're going to see that volatility. And, there's going to be times you're going to be able to take more than that 4%. There's going to be times you're going to be able to take less. But overall, you need to be extremely nimble and understand. And, Rich, historically, people are really good at this. Mm-hmm. When we get in bad times, we're getting more calls saying, hey, you know what? We're not traveling as much, or we don't feel so good about this. Mm-hmm. So we have people who are actually decreasing their distribution, saying, yeah, maybe not the case. Now, this right now is a little bit different than, say, 2020 because we have a lot more inflation pressure. So everything else is going up. So now, we haven't had a bunch of calls saying, hey, I need to go ahead and take more. But at some point, I could envision that happening.
So think about this. If I'm covering a lot of my expenses or a decent amount, say my fixed expenses, some of my wants with guaranteed income, my spending probably, I don't have to cut anything. Because if I'm getting $3,000 or $4,000 a month, and it's not from a variable asset account and that I have to worry about the portfolio value, I'm going to spend it because I know next month I'm going to get another check. And David Blanchett, really one of the best planners out there, used to be at Morningstar. Can't remember where he is now. He's made a move. But talked about how people with guaranteed income tend to spend more in retirement. Emotionally, logically, it makes sense. I know that money's going to hit my account again next month. So if I manage to spend it all, I'll be okay. But if I'm taking withdrawals, I might say, the market was rough this last couple of months. I'm going to hold off on this expense. I had one client yesterday that said, we're not going to take our vacation in July. I said, listen, you can take it. Don't blow your vacation. Go have fun. You can do it. But Danny, how many people are making those kinds of decisions, or at least looking to? And then I go back to the plan and say, remember what your hurdle rate was. You're above your hurdle rate. Your plan looks fine. Take your darn vacation and feel good about it. But who wants to go through that?
But I think that's an important part of the overall, what you need to do when you're looking at this, right? I mean, we need to make sure that we're understanding how we're budgeting. I know that's a 4-letter word, but this is a big part where we bring this back. And we are beginning to see, we are seeing more people coming back to that in this environment. And look, CFO, CEO sentiment has actually indicated that. We talked about this last week, the week before. Procter & Gamble CFO comes out and says people are beginning to shop the generic brands. They're starting to understand where they're spending money, and they're trying to save it any way that they can. And so I think that that'll be a trend that continues. And the interesting thing is once you form those habits, it typically takes a much longer time to get back to normal or where we were. And so you could see this could change things, the dynamic quite a bit. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Watch your withdrawal rate. I did that for Lance's benefit. Because without drawer, you may have no panties. Or at least a place to store them anyway. It is an ongoing management of that portfolio distribution. It is what it is. But we've been told, just mindlessly take 4% and everything will just be fine. La, 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 la. And it's not.
Who came up with that rule of thumb?
Well, Bill Bengen did in the 90s. It sort of worked. Yeah. Matter of fact, in the 90s, clients the withdrawal rate was 8 to 9%. And I was like, we're not going to do that. We're going to do 5%. What? Well, because eventually you're going to go into a bear market. A bear market? What's that? Well, you may have to take less in the future.
You're talking 5% what?
Withdrawal rate.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. At least 5% withdrawal
rate.
But,
you do hear people who do talk about that, and it is, that's one of the things where, you hear people that have to take that. What happens to them? I mean, what happens if you just don't have...
So think about this. You run the plan. There's longevity risk. The plan is going to show you're going to run out of money. Scary thought. What do? Well, hopefully, if I've taken Social Security correctly, at least I know I've got that money coming in. But maybe I need an annuity for my withdrawal rate, Lance? Maybe I need some form of guaranteed income structure to wrap around that process. People don't want to hear the word annuity. They don't. But guess what? Annuity is guaranteed income for life. Some people will require a check for life because they could run out of portfolio. I had to work with a client the other day. I gave it the 1-2 punch. Reverse mortgage, deferred income annuity, to make sure she has enough income to live nicely and she doesn't have to go back to work. We have no shortage of ours in recession either. Regression. We got no... I'm going to start talking like, what's his name? Scooby-Doo. Rants? I got Brent going this morning.
Brent, he did warn us yesterday.
I told you it was going to be a weird show. So look at Lance. Give me the 2 thumbs up, the 2 yellow thumbs. You too, buddy. I love you.
EC, his translator's broken. I'm sorry. We're working on it.
But again, it's a serious subject when it comes to spending down your portfolio and the emotional anguish you're going to go through rough markets. I mean, that's where you do have to look at how long is the money going to last and put aside all your biases about guaranteed income if you need it. A plan is going to show you whether or not you need it. You know what I just can't stand? 2 sides of this coin. One, Danny, is people that talk about like Susie Orman and Ken Fisher. We hate insurance, life insurance. We don't like annuities, right? That's wrong. And then you got the other side of people who just sell these products without planning first.
Well,
I was people don't need them.
Listening to something the other day. I was listening to another financial show, and the guy was like, "Hey, yeah, you could put everything in it. It'd be great. Put it all in an annuity." I'm thinking, "Oh my goodness." So, guys, listen.
Don't do that.
It's really important to take that inventory of assets, understand where things are, understand what's the impact to you, and what happens if they go down. And so where do you pull income from? What do your distributions look like? What is your strategy? And so make sure you understand that. Make sure you get a financial plan. Go to realinvestmentadvice.com. If you're not signed up for Lance's newsletter, it's realinvestmentadvice.com.
And the thing about bonds coming up.
That's right.
June 2nd. Have a really good weekend, everyone.
And we may talk about what?
Bonds.
What kind of rates?
Rates.
Perfect. Thank you.
We love you. See you next week.
Always Sunday. Rich man's world. All the things I could do if I had a little money. It's a rich man's world. It's a rich man's world.